Okay, good morning. It's 10:02. I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is a special meeting of the Luzerne County Board of Elections and Registration for approval of the November 5th, 2024 general election ballot. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call. Ms. Fasaro? Here. Mr. Morelli?
Here.
Mr. Schlosser?
Here.
Mr. Schramm?
Here.
And Ms. Williams here, all present. I'd like to notify the public of an executive session of the board this morning, Monday, September 30th, 2024, from 9:03 a.m. to 9:55 a.m. for the purposes of two purposes, litigation purposes to discuss current litigation, ongoing litigation, and two to address and discuss security concerns. Is there a motion to adopt this? Oh, I'm sorry, and no deliberation took place. Is there a motion to adopt the special meeting agenda?
Motion.
Motion made by Ms. Fasaro. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mr. Schramm. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any abstentions, opposition? None heard. The adoption of the special meeting agenda is adopted. We'll now move into public comment on agenda items. This is an opportunity for members of the public to address the board on matters listed on the agenda. It's not certification, only sorry about that. It's for the approval of the November general election ballot. It's limited to 3 minutes and 1 comment time per person. Okay, is there anybody in person who'd like to speak on the agenda items? I don't see any hands. I don't see any hands raised on the Zoom platform. I don't see any other phone lines besides Mr. Morelli's. So doesn't appear there is any public comment. There are no emails. We'll move into the agenda item, which is the approval of the November 5th, 2024 general election ballot. It's on the agenda for board vote, and there was a link to the ballot proofs that were put up several days ago for everybody to review. I'll turn it over to any discussion or input from the Bureau leadership or the board members.
I do have a question for Bureau leadership. Ballot on demand. I've been getting this question a lot. When will ballot on demand be available to the public?
I would say ideally we'll have it available by the end of this week, but to be certain, because I need to get our programming team in order to program the ballot on demand printers, I would say start the earliest next week.
Okay, so Monday they should be good to go on ballot on demand.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other board members or Bureau leadership discussion on the ballot for approval?
No.
Okay, is there a motion?
Oh, one more thing. Yes, with the bleed through on from side to side, did we make sure that they are not bleeding through from?
I tested it. Yes.
You tested it. Okay, perfect. I'm happy with that. Thank you.
Okay, is there a motion?
Motion to approve the November 5th, 2024 general election ballot.
Ms. Fusaro makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Mr. Schlosser. We'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Schlosser?
Yes.
Mr. Schramm?
Yes.
Ms. Fusaro?
Yes.
Mr. Morelli?
Yes.
And Ms. Williams, yes. The motion passes unanimously to approve the 2024 general election ballot. Now we'll move into public comment on non-agenda items. This is an opportunity for members of the public to address the board board on matters not listed on the agenda, but which must be within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. Again, limited to 3 minutes and 1 comment time per person. Is there anyone in person who would like to speak? Right ahead, come up to the podium. Well, just make sure that the microphone is on.
Jamie Walsh, Ross Township. I just wanted to see if we could get any update on any of the backlog that was reported last week from the Election Bureau, where any of that stands. That's all. I know there was a list of mail-in ballots that weren't processed, registrations that weren't processed, and so on. And I was just wondering if we could get an update on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in person have any public comment? I see one hand up online. Mr. Rabo. Oh, I'm sorry. You,
Right, but I'm not a resident of the county. Can I still make comments?
our bylaws state, and we voted on
Yeah,
them,
that's what I'm asking.
that in our bylaws that we had voted on and approved, it states that you must be a resident or taxpayer of the county. Are you a resident or taxpayer of the county?
No, I represent one of the presidential candidates.
Okay, well, that is in our bylaws. Yeah, so I'm sorry. It's, you must be a resident or
Okay,
taxpayer of
great.
the county.
Yep.
Is there anybody else? You already spoke
I
once.
have an objection to that. In the state of Pennsylvania, this
Is-
is, you do this all the time.
It's
You
in our
do this all
bylaws. We
the time.
voted on and
Your
approved them.
bylaws don't Violate our constitutional rights.
sorry,
They do not supersede our
The sunshine law
constitutional rights.
does state
She
that,
has a right to
that
speak.
boards
I don't
can
even know what
choose.
community you represent,
Okay, thank
but
you.
she deserves a
I'm
right to
sorry,
speak.
you already had your public comment time.
It's
Okay,
not public
The
comment, it's an
sunshine comment-
objection. It's an objection
Okay.
under the sunshine.
duly noted. Thank you.
So if you want to keep interrupting me, go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
I represent the Donald J. Trump campaign.
I'm sorry,
I was just gonna repeat this question.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Okay, is there anybody else in person who'd like to
That's
speak?
a First Amendment violation.
And we will
You
go
know.
now to the Zoom, and Mr. Rabo, you now have the floor.
Madam Chair, this is Mark Rabo of Hazelton speaking. First of all, I would agree with Mr. Walsh and the lady who is present that they do have a right to speak, especially the woman, if she's representing an organization that is representing taxpayers and residents. I do believe that is an exemption under the Sunshine Law, and there is case law rulings of the state Supreme Court and Commonwealth Court that back that up. So I would have, if I were you, Madam Chair, I would have Mr. Molino look into that before any other violations, First Amendment, federal violations or state violations occur by you and or anyone else with regards to this matter. I have one question pertaining to the mail-in ballots, and as Madam Chair, I said to the board previously, and the Bureau administration previously, there are people that work surrounding in other areas and other states with regards to mail-in ballots. I was wondering, since the devastation that happened during Hurricane Helene, and people that are working or visiting people, if they are trying to get mail-in ballots, and I would ask Madam Chair, you and the board refer to the Department of State or inquire the Department of State if they're able to get their mail-in ballots in time because of what transpired during the hurricane, and if there's any remedy for getting those voters their ballots that are residents of Luzerne County or even other counties in the state, because I'm sure that the Department of State is trying to come up with an answer. And I would ask, Madam Chair, that you and the board press on that issue because there are a lot of people, as Mr. Morelli alluded to previously, that people work on the road and also fly out for their jobs. So I think that would behoove the board and the Bureau to inquire the Department of State about how the mail-in ballots will get to those residents of Luzerne County that are working elsewhere and cannot make it in time to the voting precincts. That's all I have. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I don't see any other hands raised online. And there's only the one phone line and that's a board member. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Ms. Pissarro makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Mr. Schlosser. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposition, abstention, none heard. The meeting's adjourned at 10:12 a.m. Thank you, everybody. Please remember to turn off your mic.
Thank you. Have a good day.